We go forever and ever, yeah. You know that I'm much upset, yeah. You wish that you can do better, no, no, won't let them, We go forever and ever, yeah. I go and create the pressure, yeah. You wish that you can do better, You wish that you can do better, yeah, yeah. Ooh. We go forever and ever. We go forever and ever.
Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden and I'll be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about the idea of broken. Now, the idea is going to be coming from my most recent blog that is going to be talking about the two concepts of what broken means. And if we can think about what broke typically means, especially in Urban Dictionary, it's going to be saying you got no money. But it's not only about the money. Life is not only about the money. We can be broken as people too. And we're going to be dissecting this blog and then getting a good understanding of what broken means and then how to fix it, because I think a lot of people are broken in both regards and they have to figure out a way. How can they get out of that life? How can they get out of that situation? And it's important to understand the methods and the ways and the mindset that you need in order to get out of it. So you're not going to want to miss that. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and share this video in our audio. Let's get into that blog now so we can understand what broken means. So as I said, the idea of broken is going to have a two-term or two-idea type of concept. And the first is going to be dealing with money, as I said earlier, and feeling inadequate in your bank account. And then going down and looking at the second idea is going to be who we are as people, right? So we're broken as people. Both are going to be broken down in the blog, and I'm going to be breaking it down just briefly, and then I'm going to be breaking it down even deeper in the podcast. So this blog came to me when I started to think about the way society was moving. A lot of people are having hard times. A lot of people are blaming inflation for higher prices, which is true, but it's not really necessarily the president's fault for that. So we have to look at where we are as a country, where we're going as a society, and then moving accordingly. But what's happening is that we're looking for an scapegoat, and we're going to make blames, especially in the next maybe 9 months. We're going to be looking for scapegoats, and it's going to be for one party or another. This is the reason why this is this way. And we have that broke mindset because what's happening is that a lot of people are struggling to make ends meet. Where if they lost their job, they wouldn't know how they're going to pay their mortgage, or they wouldn't know how to provide for their family, put food on the table. So we need to make sure that this mentality doesn't reign supreme any longer, because if we're going to keep this broke mindset, then we'll never be able to reach wealth, financial freedom, because we are always thinking in this way. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to learn how to address that. But then just looking at the second area is going to be looking at the idea that as people, we are broken too, because we look at the roles of what a man is, and the man is going to not be operating in the sense of a manly role. Women are not operating in womanly roles. Both sides are not doing their job. So what happens there is that we break down as a society. So we can't have that long term, because if we're going to be breaking down as a society because of gender roles or because of opinions or political beliefs, it's going to cause a lot of hardships later on in life, especially when we're dealing with people who might just have a different opinion. And there's nothing wrong with having a different opinion. I think we're living in a world now that a different opinion means that we can't be friends or that we can't be associated with each other. And it didn't happen until I believe it really was rampant when Trump became president, where a lot of people were like, I can't support you because you support that man. That's when cancel culture started running rampant. That's when the community of mainstream media and of social medias, they started to ban individuals at a more frequent rate because they have a different viewpoint. A part of it could be at the inception of COVID, because COVID caused a lot of hiccups in life, and it caused a lot of awareness too. But though it caused the awareness of where we were as people, a lot of people didn't choose to pay attention. So looking at that too for broken is going to be important. So let's get into the podcast and start breaking down what this blog broken actually truly means. So diving into the first area of broken is going to be dealing with money. And oftentimes we have a scarcity mindset when it comes to money. We need a certain amount in our savings. We need a certain amount in our checking. We need a certain amount to have a year or to make a year. And if we don't make that, we feel like something is wrong. We feel like we are dying inside. We're like, oh no, something's wrong. I need to fix this. But yet you might have some money in your bank account, but then at the same time, you have all this credit card debt. So you're actually working backwards in the sense you have high interest rates for your credit cards, typically like 18 to 22%, something like that, maybe more. Now you're going to be dealing with that debt, which is a bad debt. And then, of course, if you have a mortgage, you're going to be worrying about that. And then you're going to have, of course, your bills, and then you're going to have your job that gives you the money. You're going to say, okay, this is how much money I make a month. Well, the reason why you say this is how much money you make a month is because you calculate how much you make a week and times it by 4. So if you make $1,000 a week, you make $4,000 a month, you make $48,000 a year, right? It's average. Is that going to be able to pay the bills? Maybe once in a lifetime it did. But now with the prices going up for everything, food, gas, rent, and mortgages, right? All interest rates are going up. I mean, we start to see the prices are going up, but yet we keep the same income. So we still make $48,000 a year, but now our dollar is not as strong. It doesn't do as much as it used to. So do we sacrifice our lifestyle? Typically, no. Typically, people are going to keep their lifestyle or maybe even try to compensate and try to make things better. The problem with doing that is you haven't changed your mindset yet. You're still thinking like a broke person. You're still thinking like a person who's not going to change your situation. Because we often think, okay, well, how much can I work? Or how much more do I have to work? Instead of, okay, what work can I do? And then figuring out from there. Because we all have a purpose. We all have a passion. We all have talents that can make money. And we sometimes just work for someone, a corporation, and we get a check. And that check, ooh, it feels so simple. It feels so easy. It feels good. This is secure money until you get laid off. So when that moment comes and you're laid off and now you're figuring out, why is my life so bad, or why is this happening to me, God, or whoever you're wanting to pray to or believe in or curse at, in reality, you need to be looking at yourself, because you were the person, you were the culprit that allowed this to happen. You decided to take that job. You decided to accept that salary. You decided to stay in that life. The good news is you don't have to stay there. You can change your circumstances. And right now, I'm sure people are like, I can't change my circumstances. I'm a certain age, or I have kids, or I have obligations. I completely understand. When you're younger, it's a lot easier to go off and not have the world on your shoulders. But when you're older, you have a lot of responsibilities. So if you don't have the luxury of youth and the ability to make mistakes, then guess what? You have to do it more methodically. You have to figure out, well, what's going to be best course for me. And what I do as a mindset coach is I help people understand exactly what courses they have for them. We look at your life, we figure out where we can make small improvements. And it's not so much that you can't get your Starbucks coffee, and it's not so much that you can't go out to the movies every Friday with your friends. It's not that. It's understanding, well, what do you like to do? How can we do the things that we like to do and then make money off that? Maybe you're an artist at heart. Maybe you make music, and then we can go from there. Because you can be a musician and you know how to record audio, and you could be an audio engineer and just record someone's audio or edit someone's audio or master someone's audio. And that can create a couple hundred, maybe thousands of dollars. Though we get so caught up in the whole mix of it, we look for easy still. So a lot of people are like, well, what can I do to create quick income that's easy? A lot of people want to become streamers because they see it can be done. But it's a lot of work to have a podcast and to be a streamer, and it takes a lot of commitment. And oftentimes people are going to stop somewhere in between, and they're going to say it's not worth it, or I don't have time anymore. Well, all we have is time. What's important to you? You have to start figuring that out. Because if you're just doing things for money, if you're just doing things to make a profit, then that can inlay some of the problems that we have. We're working for profit. We are for profit. We are not for happiness. We are not for fulfillment. We are not for abundance. So this mindset of broken is actually shifting our mind from focusing on the good stuff that we should be focusing on and focusing on the negative things that we shouldn't be focusing on, or the things that we shouldn't be praising, as having a job that we have to go to. You don't have to go to your job. You might not like your boss. You might not like your career, and you might be in it and you feel like this is what I have. And you might not feel like you can get out. And you're going to just chalk it up to circumstances, or that you have no other options, or this is the best option. In reality, the best option is for you to wake up. The best option might be for you to take action. And it doesn't have to be massive action quite yet, because I understand how massive action can be scary. But taking some action, maybe sacrificing a little bit of your free time or your self-care time, and saying, you know what, I'm not going to give myself 3 hours of Netflix tonight for self-care, because I'm going to do something different. I'm going to read a book. that's going to help me gain some knowledge, gain some wisdom. And then I can use that and I can leverage what I learn and then create an income. Maybe you don't want to do reading and you say, you know what, how can I spend some more of my time and create some quick income? Maybe you have a lawnmower, go cut some grass. If you live in a state that has snow, go get a shovel. It's hard work. I'm not going to say it's easy work. And I'm not saying it's work that you should do long term, especially if you're not in love with it. But it's a quick way for you to create some income that can help take away some of the burdens that you're feeling right now. Because what happens when we have a financial debt over us is very heavy. And when it's that heavy, we don't want to take action. We just want to be still. Similar to how if an animal is injured, they don't want to move. They just want to just sit there and they just wait for death. Well, we don't have to wait for death. We can choose life. We can get up and we can do what we have to do. And it's not going to be easy. And you have to figure out, well, if it's not going to be easy, what do I need to do to get through this, right? How can I remain accountable? How can I make sure I fulfill my goals and my dreams and my aspirations? Well, you need someone to hold you accountable. You need someone to be there to support you and believe in you. It might be your partner, it might be your parents, it might be your friends, but oftentimes it's going to have to be you. Or you're going to have to get a coach, life coach, mindset coach, someone who's going to help you believe in your dreams, help you along the way. And you have to make sure that when you're working with that coach, that you don't allow your schedule to get in the way. Oh, things got so busy. The kids, how to do this and how to do that. You have to take priority in yourself. Because when you're able to fill up your cup, then you become overflowing. And then that means everyone around you is going to be living in that same overflowing state in abundance. Versus you're scraping from the bottom. You're scraping from the bottom constantly, trying to make ends meet, trying to fill everyone up or trying to give everyone a piece. Sometimes you have to take away the pieces of people who don't mean anything in your life. Because if you're going to be operating under this broken mindset of there's not enough, this scarcity type of thing again, we are going to be in a rough place. And then we look at the second idea or the second concept, and I already touched base on it, where we're talking about the idea of being broken. We're feeling inadequate. Well, to that, I simply say is that you're enough. For the subconscious mind, it's not going to be an easy thing to swallow. The conscious mind can say it over and over and over again. You can create affirmations and mantras about this. I am good enough. I am enough. I am enough. And you can keep saying it over and over and over again. Maybe you get to the point where the subconscious mind is going to believe it. But oftentimes, the subconscious mind is going to be like, no, you're not enough. Even though you are who you are and you are going to figure out how to get through the day, you're not going to figure out how to live life to the fullest. I remember when I was leaving high school and I was going off into college, I was going into a major that made a lot more money than the major that I decided to end up with, where I knew money wasn't going to be the end all be all for my happiness. But then at the same time, I clearly understood that I needed money in order to make more money or to live a carefree life. So as I was going in my career, I started to develop different ways of thinking where I wasn't looking at my money or my bank account as who I was or how successful I was. I just needed what I needed at that time to pay the bills. Because when you start to chase the money runs away. And I found that if I don't chase the money comes to me. Because money is going to be like a butterfly in a sense. A butterfly is not going to come land on you or be around you if you're trying to catch it. Because the time is limited for a butterfly. It knows that it has a certain amount of time and it's going to make sure it's not caught. Well, why do we get caught in this rat race? Why do we get caught in society's views on who we should be? And it slows us down when we do that because we're giving ourselves more circumstances. We're giving ourselves different scenarios that we have to abide by when in reality, we just have to follow what is true to us. And if you feel like you're in a place where you're just broke and you're broken and you feel like there's no repair, there is an opportunity for you to repair. They say that rock bottom is maybe the best place that you can build again. And I have built from rock bottom several times and it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. But then at the same time, I remained hopeful. I remained optimistic. And my life today is a testament of me not giving up, of me not allowing my limits or me not allowing certain circumstances to define me. Because if I really wanted to, I can be living with mom and dad and I can not have any responsibilities in my life and I can just live life that way. But that's the easy way. At the end of my life, I would have so many regrets if I didn't take the actions I took, the risks that I have taken. And it's important for us to understand that sometimes life is going to be trial and error. But you can mitigate a lot of that trial and error. You just have to figure out How do you do that? For me, it took me many years in order for me to get a coach to help me understand exactly who I was, who I should be. Sometimes we wait until the world is upside down before we say we need to fix this. Instead, we should be looking at the world and seeing how it moves, and if it's turning upside down, we move accordingly. So we don't end up on our head or on our butt. We need to make sure we end up and land on our feet. So for the times being right now, a lot of people are in a rough spot in their life, whether it be due to finances or their emotional or mental state. They're broken, but they're broken. So they have to figure out how can they make their life better? How can they fix the issues that are going on? It starts with your mindset. And it's going to start with you having to make changes in your life and your habits and your routines. Because if you're going to keep thinking the same way, if you're going to keep doing the same things you do, you're going to keep getting the same results. And it's important that you get better results. So you have to figure out, how can I get better results? And this blog, Broken, is going to be helping you understand what is the difference between the two types of mindsets. If you're thinking about money more, or if you're thinking about who you are as a person in society more, or you're looking at your friends groups more, and then teaching you how to get out of that mindset. And then also helping you understand that you are responsible for changing your mindset. Because oftentimes people give themselves an excuse, or they give themselves a make-believe fantasy, and they go by it. And then that becomes their Bible, or that becomes their mentality. Because in reality, you can change your subconscious mind. It just takes quite some time. It could take years. I think it took me something like 3 years or maybe 4 years on the long end. But then for the quick mindsets, it's going to be just like around 2 years. So even though like they're quick mindsets, they still need adjusting. It's kind of like when you go to the tailor. And the tailor, puts on, different outfits, and you try on a different suit top or different pants and different shirts. And if you're a woman, you go try on different dresses, and they're going to figure out your size, right? They're going to get the tape measure, and they're going to figure out where do you need to be, right? What is going to be your measurements? And from there, they're able to customize your plan or customize your outfit. And what that does is that it helps you figure out, this is the perfect fit for me. But when you're broken, it's hard to find the right fit. It's hard to find the right place to be, because our mindset is not focused on getting better. It's focused on only the negative. And broken are two negative words. Our mindset is broken. Our mindset is negative. We need to shift it toward the positive, because when we shift it toward the positive, imagine what happens. And I'm a firm believer in the power of positivity and the power of optimism, where we're looking at what is possible. Because if we give the brain a path, or we give the brain an option for something better, then we are always going to give ourselves that idea, well, we can do this also, versus I have to do this, or this is my circumstances. Just because you grew up in a small town that everyone's a miner does not mean you have to be a miner in that small town. Just because you grew up in the city and everyone's being lawyers and doctors and starting their own businesses and being CEOs of their own companies, well, just because they're doing it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it. You can be a part of someone's mission and still find value in your life and not feel like you're broken on both aspects. You need to make sure that what you're doing resonates with you, because only filling up your pockets doesn't necessarily mean you're filling up your hearts. So if you're not filling up your hearts while you're filling up your pockets, you're always going to feel inadequate, and you're always going to try to compensate and create a lifestyle that fills in the gaps for your own happiness. And I find that many people compensate with materials because they're looking for the way to feel better. If I get this purse, I'll feel better. If I get this new outfit, I'll feel better. But then they're just putting themselves in that rat race, in that same loop of I'm broken, I need this to fix me. Versus, how can I make sure I'm not broken anymore? How can I make sure this is not a reoccurring thing? And if it is a reoccurring thing, figure out how you can stop it from happening. Figure out how you can mitigate it. And even if it happens in your life sporadically, that's better than a mindset that's going to be static of feeling like you're not enough, or feeling like money is scarce, or feeling like you're missing something in life. You're not missing anything. You have everything right now inside of you to be successful, to be more than what you are now. It's just that sometimes you have to dig past the comfort zone. You have to get through that fear. You have to get to that growth, and you have to say, this is where I want to be. You have to fight to stay there. And many times people don't want to fight to stay in their growth zone. They go right back to where they were. They go right back to easy. And easy is broken. Not saying that you can't have an easy life after you work your butt off. But if you're in a situation where you're not happy, where you're not living in abundance, where you're living in scarcity and fear, you need to do something. You need to have action, and you need to take responsibility of your life, because you can't wait for Superman to come save you every single day. You can't wait for luck to fall into your laps and say, I'm lucky and I hope things happen, or I wish things happen for me. We need action. We need proper, decisive action. We don't need a fantasy. We don't need a facade. We need reality. So if you're having a hard time understanding what your reality is, or if you want to change your reality because you're living in this broken mindset, head over to revenconcepts.com, get yourself some mindset coaching, and then get yourself on track to getting the life that you deserve and the life that you want. Because the world needs you to be at tip-top shape, especially in the next coming months. Because if there's going to be more hurdles, the last thing we need is for everyone to be on the ground suffering. We need help lifting people and guiding people to a better place in their life. Circumstances might be bad right now. Situations might not be ideal. Just because they're not ideal, or just because they're not maybe operating in our best interest, it doesn't mean that we can't have action towards something. Even if it takes years for us to finally reap the benefits to our actions, we are going to remain steadfast because we understand what's going to be on the other side of our actions is going to be better than if we have inaction today. So I encourage you to take action, whether that be signing up for coaching with me or for a different coach. It doesn't necessarily matter. But find someone who's going to help you get to that mindset that you need in order to find that success that you're looking for in your life. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me, coachinginsession@gmail.com. I'll see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until next time, take care.